Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode of Brazen Insights with Asia. Now, as you guys know, I am an America First believer, and I do believe that everyone in America First needs to update themselves as it relates to the AI industry. And personally, I think that on this channel, if I share the information, then a lot of us who are America First are going to become more educated in the AI field. Now, if you're someone who's just looking to get the skills and then later get the jobs when these jobs become more available in the workforce, you're going to be prepared. Now, I said in yesterday's episode that we're going to go over these two functions of one of my favorite platforms so far, which is Zapier. Zapier is a AI automation platform, and it allows you to create automated workflows for businesses. Now, me personally, I like to build out websites. So I prefer to do things like build out entire websites and then build out an AI automated workflow on the back end. Now, yesterday we went over what I called a AI automated email system, or outreach email system, meaning anyone who fills out a form or sent was if they sent me an email, I can respond back to that email in a quick way. In this case, if I was going to create an email outreach system based on a landing page, I would create a Zap that pretty much says anyone who fills out the form is automatically going to be sent an email by my agency, right? Let's say I'm a life coach. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to utilize tables and interfaces. And down the road, I'll show you how you can integrate other Zaps that make this more efficient for a potential client. Okay, now this video is going to be more than 15 minutes. So if you have a Twitter attention span or a TikTok brain, this video is not for you. But I do want to let you guys know that most of these builds I kind of did already on before I came on to record this to try and keep this video under an hour and hopefully under 40 minutes. So stick with me because it is going to be a long one, but it's not going to be as long as my previous one. So just hang in and just bear with me. Your fault why you can't achieve it. Because you've been sitting here blaming whites. Oh, it's the white man. It's systemic racism why I can't have generational wealth. Amen and hallelujah to that. Amen and hallelujah. All right, folks, welcome back. So like I said, the first few features that I want us to go through are Zapier tables and Zapier interfaces. Now, as I said, before I showed you the open, I did most of these builds before I came on. Trying to keep this video as short as possible. And this video is going to get a bit technical. Okay, so there's no way to dumb this down anymore. And I hate to say it that way, but what other way to really explain it, right? To start where you guys are at, I'm going to try and keep it as little as technical as possible. But because we're building out an entire system, it's going to get technical. And I'll try not to do what lawyers do and use too much technical jargon. I don't want to confuse you. And I don't want to give you guys this informational overload. But at the same time, it is going to get very technical. And if you feel like that this lesson or this tutorial video for how to build this particular system went too quickly, let me know in the comment section. For those of you who are new to the channel and you only hear because, the algorithm on YouTube recommended me because I do talk AI, that's okay too. Subscribe to the channel. That's going to be awesome. But if you are America First, just like me, and you're an AI enthusiast, just like me, then this is going to be the video for you because these are the potential builds that you could be doing if you are working for an AI automation agency or you yourself has built an AI automation agency. My goal is to, number one, either get the job as an AI automation specialist or to build my own business. So, wherever God takes me is where I'm going to go. But first and foremost, I just want to share the information. I'm not one of these YouTube channels that say, hey, look, I make $400,000 doing this. I'm not one of these channels that want to sell you a consult or sell you a course. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but I'm trying to educate as many people in America First possible so that way when these jobs become available, you guys are the ones getting them. Because I don't buy into this nonsense that Elon Musk and Vivek want to replace us with immigrants and robots. This is just retarded, and I don't believe in that. But this is going to be rigorous. It is going to be technical. So just try to hang in there. And if you think it went too quickly, just let me know. And then I will release a full out video on how I do create these builds. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen so that way you guys can kind of see where I'm at. Now, I recommend to anybody, right? If you are going to build out a system, right? Not just a automated workflow, that is okay. Because personally, I don't just want to build out workflows. My goal is to eliminate the need for someone to use 1,000 different websites to complete tasks. I believe that that's a hassle. Now, what we call in the AI industry is when you complete something called an AI audit, what you're doing is you're auditing a person's business, not their finances. It's not your role, but to see where their pain points are, how much time is being spent on certain things. And one of the things that I've learned in particularly the service industry, service, I mean a business that provides a service. So this is why, for this example, the client is a life coach. My client is a life coach. She's using Google Sheets to track her leads. She's got a landing page built by one website, but then she's got to manually enter that data from her landing page into a spreadsheet. And then when she gets it from a spreadsheet, then she's got to send automatic emails, and she has no real database to manage all of this. And that's one of the things that she's spending so much time on. She, as in, my fake client. So my task is to create a database that is connected to her landing page where all of her leads pop up in one table. But I don't want her to have the hassle of looking at a spreadsheet. I want it to be a little bit more simple than that. Let's say my client is intimidated by Google spreadsheets, right? She doesn't need all of the, gizmos of plenty that Google Sheets offers. She just needs the name, the number, the email, the service that the person wants, why they want the service. And that's it. It's pretty much it. And she wants to be able to confirm that she contacted them or hasn't contacted them on this one database. That's it. So my job is to consolidate this hassle into one database, one that isn't intimidating. And that's why I like Zapier. When you go to Zapier, and I do say that some features you are going to have to pay for, their subscriptions are a little bit weird because when you pay for a pro subscription, that does not necessarily mean you get unlimited features for every tool that they make available. And I had to learn that the hard way. Zapier breaks down their tools and then they offer subscriptions for each tool. On a monthly subscription plan right now. I did not pay for annually for two reasons. One, I don't own a business, so it's not necessarily an annual expenditure that I need to make. Number two, I'm technically still in the learning phases, so that way to really fully understand the Zapier ecosystem. And a monthly payment is better for an educational purpose, especially if you're not a business yet, right? If you're not doing this on the side as a business, if you're not doing this as a business already, just trying to create it, no reason to pay for an annual. But I had to pay for my Zapier interfaces and I had to pay for unlimited zaps. Each one was a different subscription fee. So in totality, I'm paying like $40 a month. But that's $20 for unlimited zaps, 20 something dollars for interfaces, right? That's how they break it down in pricing. When you go to create a new interface, two options pop up: a get in touch interface or a client portal interface. Now, I leveraged both interfaces. On a free account, you get up to two interfaces. So that's actually very good. If you're not going to pay for it, that's fine. If you just want to practice building out this system, that's okay too. Just know you're limited to two interfaces, which is the exact number of interfaces that you would need if you are building out the entire system that I'm describing. Again, we are not just building an automated workflow. We are building out a full out database and a landing page. Data from the landing page ends up in the database. So that way my client, my life coach client has a database to manage the details. We're going to start with the landing page. Now, like I said, to keep this video as short as possible, I wanted to focus on explaining these features and showing you what you can do without actually starting from scratch, to try to keep these videos as short as possible. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what I was able to do on a paid account. On a free account, you see on your end it looks white. On my end, this is kind of an orange, but this is a theme, right? So on the left-hand side, you can kind of see you got your home, have a home, you got linked assets, you got integrations, you got settings, you got theme, you got branding, and all that stuff. Things like theme and branding are paid features. Now, for the theme, let's say I want this to be darker. Here's my one criticism. I have to say, this is my one criticism of this is that I don't like the fact that it is so you have to wait. I will say that's what it's pretty much what it is. You have to wait and see after you've selected this, right? You have to wait to see what this actually looks like. To actually, you have to hit the save button, is pretty much what I'm trying to say. You got to hit the save button, and then it will change the color of your background if that's what you want. And it's not my favorite feature, in my personal opinion. It just isn't. I would prefer that this background be darker, right? And you can change those colors. You can customize those colors. As I said, this was the color that I wanted. Once I change it, that's pretty much what you can go with, and you can change that. But again, you have to pay for that feature. Now we're going to come out of the theme. This is obviously a landing page, so anyone can access this. Anyone with the link can access this page. We're going to look at what is linked assets. This is where you're going to find your table and your zaps. We'll go over into tables in just a moment, but I want you guys to kind of know how to navigate this once you're in your interface settings. So I can see that I have a table created. When you create a interface, whether it is a get in touch interface or a client portal interface, the table is automatically going to be created. That's one thing I love about Zapier. I didn't have to manually create the sign up table. It automatically did that. Now, me personally, I would change the name of this table from sign up to, lead generator, because ultimately that's what a landing page is. It's where your potential leads go out to fill out a form for you. Okay. Now there was a couple of features that I specifically did not add to this form, so you can see me edit this stuff. Okay. So before we enter the table, I want to show you all what you can do here. I want to edit this, right? Because when you first get it, it first says something like get in touch. I want to edit it. You see these hashtags here? These hashtags are what's called a markdown guide. Okay. It's different for a couple of reasons. In prompt engineering, if you watch the video I did on prompt engineering, I recommend you check out the America First AI playlist, because I go over prompt engineering and I bring up the markdown strategy. Hashtags indicate what is the most important on prompt engineering. What do you want your AI to focus on when you're prompt engineering? In this case, the markdown strategy is indicating what do you want to be a header? What do you want to be a subheader? So in this case, I wanted build up your life to be my header. Let's say I want to change that, right? Now, look at the difference. Let's say I put in, behavioral health coaching, right? Like that's the agency. You notice how I don't have the hashtag here. So it looks like regular text. How do I make this a header? You're going to put in one hashtag and put a space. It changes it. That's why it's so important that you use the markdown strategy. Contact Asia for services. Look what happens when you have the hashtags. It turns into regular text. If I put in one hashtag, it becomes a header, not a subheader. But that's too massive. So I need this to be a subheader, 2 hashtags. If you forget this, it's okay, because Zapier has it listed out here. What is considered what will actually tell you what you should do, what you want italicized, what do you want to be bold. Let's say I wanted this section. Please add your information below to stay in touch. Let's say I wanted this to be in bold. I have to use the 2 stars. So I'm going to put 2 stars on the end. I'm going to put 2 stars in the beginning. Now it's been bolded. Let's say I wanted it italicized. 1 star on each end makes it italicized. So follow that markdown strategy. It will help you. It will definitely help you. So I like how it's italicized. I'm going to leave it as is. I like that everything is centered. It makes it look really good. Okay, that stuff is done. Now I added in an image. If you want to add an image, you have to scroll down to where it says add component. This is how I added the image. Now, if this was supposed to be an e-commerce store, you can integrate Stripe payment system. That is a feature you also have to pay for if you want to be able to integrate your Stripe. But this is what I think. If you are an e-commerce store, you don't need to build on here. If you are someone who wants to sell a service like life coaching, for example, let's say I wanted to be paid ahead of time before we even actually sat down for the call, because I don't want you to just, sign up and then I got to do all these outreach calls. I want to make sure that I'm getting paid even for my time. Even if you cancel, I get paid. I can integrate Stripe. But let's say I'm not that person. I just want to get the information. That's okay. But I want to make this a little bit different. I'm going to have a media. I want to add media to it. That's totally okay. Maybe I want the layout to be different, or I want to add a divider. It's that okay. It's that simple. I'm going to add media. When you add media, this is what happens. It's going to ask you what you want to upload. Let's say I want to upload an image, a URL source, if that's what it's going to be. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's an upload. And then you can just go ahead and you can choose an image and then go ahead and, pick an image from your system, if you will. Now, let's say I want an image at the top and at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick an image and I'm going to leave it there, right? It's uploading, it's verifying, bada bing, bada boom. There it is. I've added an image. Now, if you want to move this, you go ahead and you click this and you bring it up and it'll post wherever I want it. But because I already have an image at the top, I want it at the bottom because I already have an image at the top. Now I'm going to edit this form. You see how I have name listed here? Name needs to be a requirement. It needs to be a requirement. Why? Because it makes no sense to make the email required and not have the name of the person, right? So what do? Check off required. Always check off required for anything that you need if you're generating leads. I need the person's name, obviously, right? So that's what we're going to do there. I also need their phone number to be required. I'm going to scroll all the way down, click required. These fields, any field for information that is mandatory as someone who is generating leads, the name, the phone number, the email address, and the service that they want from you, these are required fields. This is why you see here it says required in every aspect. There's one field where it is not required that they fill out because I just need them to kind of give me a brief description of why they want this particular service. It's not required. As the person who provides the service of life coaching, I would like to know, but it's not mandatory. But it is mandatory that you tell me which services you're interested in. It is mandatory you give me your contact information, your phone number, and your email. And I do need to know your name because there are those instances where people have where their name is John Smith, but their email says batmanwannabe@gmail.com. Nowhere in that email does it say their name. I need their name. That's mandatory. And on the settings side, again, you're going to look on your left hand side, see how there are these assets here. Going into the settings, this is usually just going to say get in touch when you first go into it. I want to change the name to Asia's landing page. You also see here what's the public name. So when someone is clicking the link, they're going to see that it says Asia Life Coach when they click it. In the subdomain area, it's going to have something already kind of in there as a placeholder. You can change that. If you're someone who needs a customizable domain, if your client wants it, or if you are a business who wants to build this for yourself and you want the customized domain, you're going to pay, you have to pay for that feature. On the pro account, you're not able to do that. You have to level up your subscription for that. This particular test doesn't require it. And even if I were the life coach, let's say, and I needed it, I don't need my landing page to have a domain. I need to see my agency reflected in the subdomain, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a customized domain, right? Where it just says asialifecoach.com. That's a customized domain. I don't need that. That's okay. I need the subdomain. So I typed in Asia Life Coach. Now, here where it says, what's the homepage? I have it set to the get in touch page. That is the home page. That's the landing page. Why? Because when someone clicks the link, if it takes them to thank you, they wouldn't have been able to fill out the form. Always go into your settings and make sure that your homepage homepage is get in touch. Why do I say that? Because when you create these interfaces, you're automatically going to get 2 pages on the interface. You're going to get a get in touch interface page, and you're going to get a thank you for submitting the form page in one interface. That's your first one. Your first one gives you 2 pages. So you always want to make sure that you go into those settings. And when you eventually have everything saved and you see how everything looks, if you like what it is, remember some of these features you do have to pay for. This has been saved automatically. You don't have to hit a save button like if you were working on a spreadsheet. That's fine. When you eventually click the link, it will take you into the actual landing page when you click this link. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. But right now, I want to make sure that I have all my fields. Do I have all of them? Well, if I'm a life coach, what's another field that I'm going to need, right? I need to know when the person filled out this form. That's the one thing missing from here, right? When did they fill it out? I'm going to add a field because it's important. What is this one going to be about? It's going to be about the date. So I'm going to look, I'm going to scroll, and I'm going to look. It's the date picker, right? That's what I need. I'm going to choose date picker, right? Time is not necessary. I'm going to default to current date. So that way, when someone actually fills it out, it starts on the day that actually went to the um, landing page. I'm going to click required because it is mandatory. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter field. Let's hit over to actions. Oh, wait, no. Insert field. Something's missing here. What's missing? The field is required. It's going to be create a new field. So this is what happens when you go into this, when you're creating a new table. It's going to say content. You see how it says this is the connect table. If I wanted to insert from the table, which we'll get into, I can select which field is not available yet. But none of this feature, right? This date feature is not added to our table. We'll get to that part when we cross it. So right now I'm creating a new field name, date. It is a date. Nothing else is required. Nothing else I have to enter. I check required, create field. Date has been entered. I personally would prefer that the date be at the top. So what I'm going to do is and drag it all the way to above name. All right. Now that feature has been added, date is required, name is required, email is required, phone number is required, services interested are required, and then what you're looking for is not required. So the person who's filling out the landing page does not have to fill this out per se. Now that this part has been done, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head over to the table. Okay. And I don't have to go to my homepage to do that. I can go to linked assets. That's going to bring you over to your table. So when you click sign up, when you click your table asset, it'll open that up. So that's what we're going to open up now. All right, we're in our table view. Everything that is on the table, that's on the landing page, has been listed here, right? It has been listed here. Now, what I want to do is I want to edit this. I want this table, I want the date to be over towards the beginning of this. So I don't want it all the way at the end. I want it to be listed the same way I have it listed on my form. I want the date to come first. That's what's so significant. I want the date to come first. Now we have date, we have name, email, phone number, available services, what you're looking for. Now here's a field here that I want us to look at, right? The contacted form. I want to edit this field, right? Because right now I have it listed as a drop down, but I prefer, instead of it being a drop down, I would prefer that it be a checkbox. Why do I want it to be a checkbox? Because someone should be able to mark on their interface in their database what it is. Now, this one, I had linked a Zap to it. I'm going to delete this field and start from scratch so you guys can see what that actually looks like. So I'm going to add a field. This field needs to tell me as the life coach if I contacted them, yes or no, and this will allow me to manage the data a little bit more better on my database. interface. We'll get to that part in just a second, but I'm going to add this. Here's what I'm going to do. It's a checkbox. Field name, contacted. Center is fine. We're going to create this. And again, this field is not getting added to our landing page. It's going to be added to our second interface. And that actually brings me to the second option that Zapier Interfaces makes available. Remember, the first one is Get in Touch. The second one is the client portal. You need both to build out this system that I'm telling you about. When you create these interfaces, Zaps are already created for it, meaning the triggering event. When the form is filled out, the form goes from point A to point, the information goes from point A to point B, and eventually from point B to point C. And it does it automatically so that way I don't have to do it myself. Whatever is filled out on the form, it gets entered into the data table, into the Zapier table. And then what's input on the Zapier table is added to the interface, the client portal interface, because that's the database I'm making available. Again, if this is getting too technical, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's going to feel like a lot, but just bear with me. If you want more of a in-depth how-to, let me know in the comment section. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. But now that you see that we've added this stuff in, we're going to show you the second interface that we've created. So we're going to go to linked assets. We're not going to Zaps. We're going to interfaces. And I'm going to go over to what I already labeled as Asia's portal, right? That's what's so important, to go to the portal. Now, there's two features in this particular portal. All right. This portal has 2 pages as well. Most of them are going to give you 2 pages depending on what it is. The client portal only gives you 1 page when you first create it, and it's the table view. The second page, you're going to generate on your own. And I'll explain that once we enter the table view. So let's go ahead and go into that. Asia Coaching Portal. This is where all of my leads are going to be generated as the life coach. All the information that's entered on that landing page goes into the data table that I showed you, the Zapier table. And then everything that's input on that Zapier table is going to be uploaded here to this interface. You're creating a database. And so the table from Zapier is just the back end. And you have these Zaps that automated the transferring of data from the form through this database. So these are the 2 links you would be providing your client. You would be providing your client with their landing page link, because that's the one that they're going to post on their social media. And then you're going to give them the second link, which is access to their database. Now, there's a reason why you see 2 pages listed here, right? The table view and the login. When it is a database, it needs to be secure. It cannot just be anyone can access it because they have a link, the way you would the landing page. Anyone with the link can access the landing page because, well, that's how you're going to generate leads for yourself. Your database where you store those leads needs to be secure. The only people who need to access that is obviously the developer who's building out the system, but I have access from the back end. I can see all of this myself. I don't need a password. Well, the password to log into your Zapier account, of course, but it's not necessary when you're trying to develop these systems. As far as accessing their database, you have a back end entryway. It's to make sure that anyone, your client, and any of their staff that need access have to log in. How do you do that? On your left-hand side, all of these things here. You're going to go into, if you see here, you got the service here where it says access and users. I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's set to anyone with the link. That's going to change, because you don't want anyone with the link to have access to this database. This database is specific for your client and their staff. Only they should have access. Me personally, I prefer to use, anyone with a passcode or anyone with a one-time password. So anyone who's logged in the one time will have access, but not anybody without the password can just access it, right? I like the one-time passcode because what happens is you get emailed, right? If anyone with the passcode, they go in, they put in their email address, and they receive a passcode. And then there's the advanced login. I like the advanced login for 2 reasons and 2 reasons alone. right? You can say enable users to log in by clicking the one-time use link sent to their email address. I like the magic link. I prefer it especially because I don't want anyone I don't want anyone to log in with their Google accounts, because still anybody with the link and the Google account can just log on. I don't want that, right? Enable any user to log in if they have the approval to do it, right? So with an approval domain address, that can get a little bit complicated. When I test out that feature, I will talk about it some more. But these two, I can't really explain too much because advanced plan required, and I'm on the pro plan. I don't have an advanced plan for interfaces. But the magic link, I really do like. I do like the advanced plan. Now let's see here. A login page and component have been added for this system, and this is me choosing that. I went with this one. Reason being, you can't really disable this unless you have the advanced plan, because then you can kind of choose which one you want. When you choose this one, this is what happens, the advanced login. And I will show you guys how all that works. But ladies and gentlemen, we have created our client portal. We have created a landing page. There is a data table for this on the back end, and there are zaps that already trigger all this data being moved from point A to point B. Now, there's a couple of other features that you can add to this, and we'll talk more about that towards the end of this video. But now it's time to actually go through the motions. So I'm going to show you guys that right now. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. I'm going to get you guys to the landing page, and then we'll go through the process from there. All right, folks, here we are. We are officially on the landing page. You can see that everything that we did on the first form, on the setting side of things, and we were editing this stuff, it needed to be added in. See how it is set to today's date, January 19th, right? Because it needs to automatically set to the current date. So that way someone doesn't have to actually worry about doing it themselves. It'll do that automatically. Now we're going to go ahead and add some personalized data. So let me just go ahead and add that in, and then I will. Okay, so the form has been filled out. Date has been automatically entered. John Smith is the client, is the prospect's name, email address, a phone number, services that he wanted, and I typed in, why he wants the help in the first place. We're going to click submit. Now the form has been submitted. Now we have to see, did this information translate from point A to point B? Now, from the from the life coach perspective, they aren't going to see the Zapier tables, but as the developer, it is important that you see your table so you can see what happened with the information. So let's go ahead and share that table. Here's Zapier tables. Everything from the form was submitted. See that? The date's there. His name is there. Email, phone number, the services that he's looking for, and why he did it. Now, contacted, obviously, I left checked off, right? This is not on the form. This is the function that the life coach has to use themselves. Do I like it in the middle? I don't. I want to edit that. Edit field. I want it more to the left. It looks weird in the center like that. So I'm going to put it to the left and then click save. Now that that part is done, what the life coach is going to see is this. Did this data transfer all the way over to the portal? Because that's what we need to see. Did it translate over? And so I'm going to open up the actual agent portal that they are going to see. Let's go ahead and share that. And here it is. You see the name, John Smith, phone number, all of this information was added in. You see the things that, what's missing here, right? So it hasn't been, they're not allowing you to toggle on and off. The date is still listed here. So what do I have to do? I need to go back into the table and I need to make some changes there. So that way my life coach agent can toggle this on and off themselves. Right? That's what you need to do. The date, I don't like it over here. I want it back at the beginning. So how can I manage that? You're going to find out that there are some things that you're going to have to do and go in and edit yourself. And that's okay. And again, when I'm doing these builds from scratch, if that's what you guys want to see, we can edit that. We can do all of that ourselves manually. You can edit those features yourself. And I do advise that you guys kind of play with these things before you try to sell these services. If you're trying to start your own business, master Zapier interfaces first. Master the Zapier ecosystem first. That's my goal. I want to be what they call a Zapier ecosystem expert. I love Zapier. I like it more than some of these other automation platforms like make.com. Not to say that make.com isn't great. I think personally, if you're only trying to build out these automated workflows where information is just kind of traveling back and forth, if you want to create outreach email systems, like I said, just if your goal is just to create these workflows, make.com is going to be a lot better and more efficient for you because financially, it's just better that way. Make.com has much better subscription plans. They give you way more available to you for a lot cheaper if all you want to do is create automated workflows. But that's not me. I'm not someone who's just going to create AI automations, right? Because I'm like, okay, so you can automate workflows, but I I'm someone who builds websites for businesses. How can I limit how many applications or how many websites a business has to use? So that way they can focus on the thing that brings in revenue. So if I'm selling to a client that sells a service, but they're using 5 applications, maybe they're using a lead generator, right? But that's one website. Then they're using Google spreadsheets to track those leads manually. Then they're emailing each of those leads manually. And on top of that, they have to be able to, create marketing and post on social media. There's a crap ton of applications that they have open, a crap ton of websites. My job, how can I consolidate some of these websites into one system? Yes, there's going to be a landing page. That's always going to be the case. Your landing page is always going to be a database because not everyone's going to have access to that. I want to make sure that the leads end up in one place, that they're being tracked automatically. So that way the client doesn't have to enter this data manually into a spreadsheet. That's number one. I also want to make sure that the client doesn't have to send each one at a time on their own. I can embed a AI automated outreach system. So anytime someone fills out the landing page, I can put in a zap where they are automatically getting an email. In yesterday's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we went over how to create an automated email system. Obviously, the trigger was different. The trigger was if I receive an email, send an outbound email. In this case, the zap that I would create, when a form is submitted, send an outbound email to the email address listed on the form, right? On the new record added. That's how I would do that. But now my client doesn't have to have to open up their Gmail account. They don't have to keep that open. They don't have to enter these emails manually. They don't have to worry about tracking these leads on a spreadsheet. All that's going to be is going to happen by themselves. All they have to focus on is making the sale. All they have to focus on is speaking with the prospect, speaking with the lead, and generating more revenue because I've made it simpler. That's what I like to build. That's what I want to do. That's why I prefer Zapier over make.com. Make.com doesn't offer all these features. They don't offer data tables. They don't offer interfaces. The only way you're going to make make.com work for you is if you're using other platforms. So if I used Wix to build a landing page, I'm going to connect my landing page I built in Wix, connect it to make.com, and all that has to be done on the automation side. But why not just have everything in one place? Design it in one place. That's what I like. That's why I recommend Zapier. Become a Zapier ecosystem expert, and you'd be surprised that when these jobs start popping up, you're going to be able to say on your resume, yeah, I'm a Zapier ecosystem expert. I do think it's important that we learn how to use these other automation tools like make.com, but figure out what your niche is. Figure out what you want to build. If you're someone like me who's built out full out websites, then you're going to want to learn Zapier ecosystem because I build out websites. I want to build databases. I want to build databases for people who sell a service. That's what I want to do. And right now, I already have a build for a potential client. A friend of mine is an independent agent. I'm not going to tell you what industry they're in, but they needed a landing page to generate leads. They needed those leads to be tracked. And then they needed to be able to reach out to those leads as soon as possible via email to let them know via email or SMS. So these clients of theirs were getting an email from this agent and they were also getting a text message agent automatically. Every lead that fills out a form receives an email and a text. Why? because they need to know that they're going to be contacted by the agent that whose form they just filled out. But now this eliminates the agent's need to do all of that tedious contact and outreach so they can focus on whatever else they need to be doing, maybe preparing to close the deal. Whatever it is that you need to do to focus on revenue, that's our job. I provided them a database similar to what we work through here. This is all that I built out only on Zapier. Only on Zapier. And this is the first version. It's in the testing stage. So we'll see how it works. If it helps them bring in revenue, then I did my job. And then I know, okay, I got a product that I can market and sell. And that's my goal. That's what I hope to do. And I will keep you guys up to date on that. Hopefully, I can actually tell you that the system that I built out for them works. And I did a little bit more than just the email automation. I've deployed AI agents for this specific build. We'll go over AI agents, their function, how you can utilize them, which is also a tool that Zapier makes available. I didn't have to go to Replit. I didn't have to go to Agentive, not to put down on those because I really love Agentiv's AI agent software, solutions, but Zapier made everything available for me here. Learn the Zapier ecosystem. America First needs to start with Zapier. Become an expert here. And once you're an expert in all of the tools in this ecosystem, whichever tool you prefer, whichever tool that you like to build per se the most, then you can start looking at other automation platforms. Another tool I would give you guys, another tidbit I would say, don't watch 1,000 hours of AI content. And it's good to watch other people who are kind of giving you tutorials on these systems. I do the same thing, but be careful with that because sometimes it can be a bit braggadocious. They can say things like, this is how I'm making $400,000 a month, or this is how I'm making $50,000 a month. Focus on education first. Focus on learning how to use these systems and understand that when you learned it, you should feel an accomplishment. So what if you haven't sold your first build yet? I started this journey January 1st, 2025. We're 3 weeks in. It's January 19th. We haven't even entered the Trump presidency yet. Starts tomorrow, of course, but we haven't entered it yet. And it took me 3 weeks. It's only the 19th. I learned about AI. I learned the basics. I learned all the different types, large language models, AI agents. I learned what each one does, its functionality. I heard about all of these automation systems, how AI is going to be doing all of the coding and how you don't really need any more coding engineers anymore. I learned all of this in 3 weeks. And I've been doing Zapier for the past week and a half. And I've already built out my first build. And I've already sent it off to a friend of mine because technically I'm working for free. Why am I working for free? It's not because I don't think that what I'm building deserves to be compensated. It's to build up my confidence in my builds. If my builds don't generate revenue for a client, then what the hell is the point? Remember, we are America First. We want to see how AI level America First up. How is this going to help Main Street, small businesses, solopreneurs? No one's going to pay you to build out these systems if these systems don't make money. You want to make sure that what you are building pays for itself in a sense. If someone's going to pay me, let's say even $350 or $500 for this test build that we just went over today, if someone's going to pay me $500 a month for this, right, not just access, but maintenance, they're getting training, they're getting tech support, and they're obviously getting access and maintenance. This is a retainer, if you will. They are paying me $500 a month. If I want someone to pay me $500 a month, then I need to make sure that the build what I've created for them actually earns them money. Did it earn them any money? If it doesn't, then what's the point of them spending $500? Remember, Main Street and solopreneurs do not have the kind of money that big business have, where they can kind of just waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on, innovation. Small businesses don't have that luxury. Their pocketbooks are a little bit tighter, a lot smaller. So whatever you're going to build out for America First and what you're going to build out for Main Street, which again, small businesses, solopreneurs, if this is your target audience, which it should be if you're on this channel, then make sure that your builds or your automation workflows or your systems, whatever it is that you're creating for them, generates a revenue for them. It's not just about eliminating time because they're not going to spend $500 a month or even $200 a month on saving time. They're going to spend money on something that's going to help them increase revenue. That's what your focus needs to be. And that's how you level up Main Street. That's why there's no point in me selling this build yet until I know for certain it works. Now, functionality, this system that we tested out today, it works. It does. The question is, will it generate revenue? So I sent my build off to a friend who is we'll say a solopreneur, sells a service. My job is to see, did I solve her pain points? Did I consolidate how many applications that she needs to use to do her job, right? For the administrative side of things. And the third pain point, she needs to generate leads, right? This independent solopreneur needs to generate leads, period. So I built the landing page. This is how you're going to get your leads. You need to be able to fill out a form. You need an actual landing page to promote on your social media. They'll fill out the form. You have a database where all that data is going to come up and you'll be able to track all of this information here. Outreach emails will go out for them. And then all you got to do is focus on making the phone calls. So that's a system that I built for them. Similar to this, with a couple of extra features. I deployed an AI agent. I won't go into that again, but that's what you guys need to focus on. But that's my time, ladies and gentlemen. I know that this felt rushed. Let me know if you guys want a more in-depth how-to. I'm trying to keep this video under an hour. So most of these builds I did offline. So if you want more thoroughness, put in the comment section. If you haven't already, subscribed. But that's my time, ladies and gentlemen. Again, will be made available on my channel on the America First AI playlist, where you'll find all of the other educational videos that I post. But again, that's my time. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay warm if you're in those Arctic blast areas. Enjoy the inauguration tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I will be talking about that come Tuesday, because Monday, it's really just about enjoying the inauguration and the official end to the Biden era. God bless you all. And until next time. Your fault why you can't achieve it. Because you've been sitting here blaming whites. Oh, it's the white man. It's systemic racism why I can't have generational wealth. Amen and hallelujah to that. Amen and hallelujah.